All right, welcome everybody. I didn't do any kind of special previews or announcements here, but or introductions to the video. But we are having about an hour here to talk with KD about the Train and Learn event that's coming up next weekend. And I guess I need to turn off the video there. Sorry about that. And I appreciate everybody for their patience and Kevin for sure, because I've been having internet issues and I wanted to restart my modem here. Once we were all kind of set up, last thing I did is restart the modem, and that took some time. So with that being said, we have KD on, no other choice, aiming for the truth. I'm assuming that most of the people who are watching this channel, watching this interview, know who KD is. Next weekend is the third annual Train and Learn event. Big fan of it. I've asked KD to jump on and chat about the origin story, evolution of the Train and Learn concept. And now that it's about to be the third year, it's hard to say it because it's 4 years really, right? Third event. And I can't even imagine all the stuff that's with the last couple of years, all the challenges and opportunities, and now you're following through on third years, just to chat about that. So horrible introduction, bad interview style, but KD, take the mic and let's chat about Train and Learn.
Yeah, first of all, man, I want to say thank you for spending the time with me tonight. It's my pleasure to be here with you, and I thank everyone out there that is listening in. Thank you for taking time out of your evening. You could be doing something else, but you're hanging out here, so definitely appreciate that. Yeah, this would definitely be the fourth, but we had the year of lockdowns to deal with, right? So we kept pushing through it, and we got through it like the rest of the country had to make their way through. And Train and Learn is it's my way of giving back something I think that this industry really needed. One of the beautiful things about the firearms industry, and forgive any background noise, I'm trying to enjoy eating out on my deck. One of the beautiful things about the firearms industry is that it brings people from different backgrounds that have different experiences, that have done different things. Although I've had my stint in law enforcement, and although that I am a firearms instructor, and although that I do all my community outreach work, and I'm glad to do all those things. One of the other things that I brought to this industry was a decent amount of business acumen. A lot of people don't know that I have 2 degrees in business. So what I noticed when I got here, and I've worked for a couple of Fortune 500s. I'm been involved in some high level contracting work and things of that nature. So there are opportunities that I see from a business standpoint because of what I've done, because of my experience, and because of the other people I know, that this industry was missing. And it was missing it not because there weren't certain companies doing it and doing it well. No one else knew how to gain the information. So we have people out here that have been doing good work or great work, and they've been at it for, say 2 years, and then they flame out. They flame out because it's not sustainable. You start putting people against, what do I do? Do I go out and fight for gun rights or fight for freedom? And whatever kind of way I do it, right? Podcaster, YouTuber, blogger, whatever your thing is, instructor, whatever it is, we're all in the same fight. Do I do that at the sacrifice of my family? Is that a wife and kids? Is that a wife and kids you want to go get? Is that, mom and dad? Is that siblings? Is that just you enjoying the other things in your life you want to enjoy? Do you like kayaking, fishing, travel? Like, what are the other things you want to do? And so when people start weighing life against what they're passionate about, eventually the gun rights lose, because people want to do other things. That's why we can see people come and then they go. Because they can't sustain what they're looking at. And what I wanted to do is be able to provide an opportunity and education and information to individuals that help them with that. And so that's why we have 1 day of professional development workshops. There are unfortunately some individuals in this industry that are like, oh, we don't need that. We don't need that. And I'm like, well, you don't understand that the Second Amendment, although a constitutional right, although a God-given right, is still a business, right? You still have to run a business. And unfortunately, the ego of the gun transfers to a lot of ego in men, especially, to feel like they got it, they understand it. And who is this guy to come in and say he can help facilitate something different that's going to push me over the edge? Well, I spent a lot of money on degrees and I've made millions and millions and millions upon millions of dollars for companies across this country. I might know just a little bit about what I'm talking about. So if you don't want to listen to that, that's fine. But their opportunity is there. And I'm not giving all the information. One thing that I'm able to do is recognize talent in other people. So when I'm listening to these other professionals that are like, hey, this guy really can really nail it down better than I can ever imagine in the marketing realm, right? And all the subset conversations that come from that. When we have somebody else that understands how to properly scale your business, we have somebody else that understands how to really maximize off a niche market. We have somebody else that truly understands from a professional level. I'm talking about that gets paid six figures a year to be able to go in and do website and social media integration for large scale companies. When we start getting our hands on those type of individuals, which I've had the pleasure of doing, that are willing to share once I sit down, explain to them what the goal is. It's a lot of legwork that went into this, right? Years and years upon years of relationship building. And now that they're willing to share small workshops, they're not going to give you, the last 15 or 25 years of their work experience in one workshop. But there are opportunities for you to get up, get charged up, get information, get your mind churning, and then everyone is available to provide this service at an extended level to you if you decide to sign up. But I wanted that. I wanted this industry to understand that there is a business to what we do, and we have to understand how that all integrates together, how you create a synergy around that, and how you execute on that, for we all can have more sustainability. And let's face facts, the more we have, the more advocates we have for freedom, the stronger we are. Why lose 5 good advocates if we don't need to, right? Like we need to do whatever we can to keep them around. So we want to make sure that they are getting information and education that keeps them around. And the more we keep them around, the more people they educate, the more people, Americans they educate, the more voters that we have that are now educated voters. It is a thing that we need. And the more businesses we have succeeding, the more capital we have to fight for rights. The more capital we have for you to say, I can absolutely fight and stand up for what I believe in, but I can still afford to feed my kids at the end of the day without having to work 7 jobs and still come home and run a podcast, right? Like, what can we do to help? Does that mean everybody's going to absolutely become a millionaire if you come to Train and Learn once? Well, no. Nobody's promising that type of thing. What we are promising is give you or help you construct a blueprint from various experts around the country that have years and years upon years of doing what they're doing, and they've also had failures, so they know what to avoid, right? So we want to do that, and then that's going to be day one. We want to make sure that you understand that there is business, involved in this, and not only just telling you got to be a better business person. Recently I've heard horror stories of certain businesses that have, been sued and didn't understand how to balance their books, and weren't filing the right paperwork on a state or federal level, and next thing you know, we're losing good people. We got to stop that. The second day of Train and Learn is built around in development and exposure when it comes to the kind of the meat and potatoes of what we do, right? This using firearms, how do we use them? And what I wanted to do with that is not just guns, though. What I wanted to do is have the same idea of workshops, but I want to have it with instructors around the country that I trust, people that I respect, people that I know are great at what they do. And so we're going to bring them in. We're going to have 4 different workshops on the range this year. One of those workshops is going to be taught by Akil Bay with Tele-Defense Training Group. All right, now Akil is got over 2 decades as a Green Beret, Special Forces, and he's going to come in and teach you about medical. Well, he's also a paramedic at his full-time job, but he's going to come in and talk to us about medical. And if you know anything about what the Green Berets do, and then you understand that this guy's a paramedic, you understand why him having 2 decades of experience and then being a full-time paramedic really qualifies him to come do something like medical training. We're going to have Ryan and Amber with Fit to Fight, right? Fit to Fight is they're about fitness and fighting. They're a mixed martial arts gym. They have several affiliate gyms spread across the country and international. These 2 great individuals are going to come in and are going to educate us about hand-to-hand. We've been able to bring them into the firearms culture over the last 3 or 4 years. So now they're even incorporating firearms training into their self-defense training at the mixed martial arts gym. So now we're going to bring them to Train and Learn, where they can talk about that integration, and they can talk about, hey guys, this is why it's important to be fit, and this is how you fight. Let's walk you through these things, right, and get some hand-to-hand skills going there. And then we're going to have Kurt, one of the instructors with Perfectors Group, is going to come up, and he's going to talk to us about pistol and the way of the pistol. Military veteran, very well knowledge about the pistol, and more than importantly, everyone is a great teacher of the thing, because that is an art form, and that's what I want the audience to see. Look at how they teach. You have to understand learning styles. Do you understand cognitive theory? Do you understand how to adapt? Do you understand proper time to use icebreakers and what they do to the mental of the student? Do you understand how to transfer information to help that student obtain it? Do you understand how to even work around learning disabilities? Do you really understand those things, or does it just sound cool to say that you do? Right? So I want you to watch these other instructors in action and see how they are communicating. The skill they are teaching you is awesome. I want you to learn that or get a little teaser of that. But I also want the students to pay attention to how they are transferring, excuse me, said information to the audience that's listening to them. And then we're going to have Barrett with Barricode Training out of Louisiana. He's going to come up and he's going to teach us about all things rifle. Well, I say all things. He's got an hour and a half, but you get my point. He's going to come up and talk to us about all things rifle. So you have these great instructors out there that are loaning their time to help you, but you need to be watching how they're teaching too. Learn the skill, but watch how they're teaching, because I want you to absorb that. How are they teaching? Why are they communicating like this? And it doesn't mean you have to be a firearms instructor. We are still communicators, right? So you get to see this information and gather this information and apply it to what you learned the day before. And after you have that, we are going to have an experience. There are a lot of people. Let's face facts, man. Some of us do this, and we maybe bring financial support from other industries, or maybe we just, we still work a good job that pays us well, and we're able to do some kind of cool stuff. And then there are some people that really don't have the opportunity to do these things. They just have other obligations. And one of those things people don't have the opportunity to do is experience night vision, right? So we've got the learning done. We want to have a little icebreaker. You're going to experience night vision. So we're going to have Mike Waller, who's going to be standing out there, and he's going to be letting people just experience, not a training class. I'm going to bring some of my night vision kit. Other guys are going to donate their kit. We're going to have thermals. We're going to provide that for everyone that is engaged in this freedom community can kind of see some of the awesome things we get to do. So you'll have the night vision experience. A couple other things are going to happen that I'm not going to talk about. And then we're going to have a networking event. We're going to have Jara Hutchins is going to be bringing her expertise outside of guns. She does many things outside of firearms. And one thing she's going to do is bring her her cigar and bourbon and whiskey pairing knowledge. And we're going to have a cigar and whiskey class while we have a networking event. So it's going to be very relaxed. It'll be a long day, but you're going to get a cigar. You're going to get a pour bourbon or whiskey if that's what you choose. Obviously, we've done the right things with the firearms at this time. And you're going to have a chance to sit back and network. And we're going to show you how to do that, how to properly network. Networking is way deeper than saying, hey, I got this guy's phone number. There are people that I network with that I built a personal relationship with for 3 years before I ever talked to them about anything dealing with business. There have been people that I've talked to for a month before I ever talked about business. There have been some people we networked starting from business, but you got to know how to properly network. Networking is going to help you out, even when it comes to communicating with your peers about how to do things and how to get certain things done. So we'll network, and then Sunday we'll have an entire collaboration day where you get to take everything you learned over the last 2 days and you get to come out and create content. We're going to have about 120 acres open for you to do nothing but create content, have interviews, get your phone out, interview some of these people from around the country, interview the subject matter experts, interview the instructors, interview the teachers. Interview these people and have content. You're gonna be able to get out on the range, and you're gonna be able to shoot guns. You're gonna be able to have the opportunity to win prizes. You're gonna have the opportunity to, hey, oh, guess what? You're a blogger. Well, I'm an instructor. You want to write a blog about me? And we're gonna encourage people and show them the examples and ways they can do that. The average person leaves Train to Learn with about 6 to 8 months worth of content if you do it right, from photo content, video content, and written content. So we want to provide all those opportunities for you to get out there and do it. Now, we're also going to feed you 3 times. This event is, I'm understanding that we're dealing with a hell of a year when it comes to inflation. We're dealing with Americans, scraping by to make it. But we're going to feed you 3 times and provide everything that I just explained to you for a grand total, with 3 meals included, mind you, a grand total of $350. And that $350 even includes 100 rounds of ammunition to make sure that you have a little help getting through some of the firearms training classes. So it is meant to help build up. It is meant to help educate. It is meant to help everyone out, but you got to be able to be willing, to put in the footwork to make it happen. One thing I don't tolerate is intellectual laziness. I just don't have time for it. And if you ever want to be into business, you'll understand there is no time for that. You can sit down and plot and do things right and have a strategy. but I'm not going to beg you to be successful. I'm not going to fight for you to be successful. I'm not going to do that for you. What I'm going to do is do my part in making sure that you have an opportunity to achieve a certain level of success, because I hope that you go to great lengths in life and you achieve great things and you make our country a better place and our freedom has been expanded. But I'm not going to fight you to do that. Either you're going to do it or you're not. And I just don't pull any punches when it comes to that. So that's what Train and Learn is, and that's why I wanted to do it. That's why I started it. I'm happy to be in our third annual event. We're already planning a fourth one and a fifth one. Like literally, we're already laying the groundwork for those. So I don't plan on stopping. I've been to a lot of events. I've been pleased to be to a lot of events in this industry and other industries. I'm involved in a couple other industries, and I get to go see and do some pretty interesting and cool things. But when it comes to this firearms industry in particular, I've been to a lot of the big shoots. I've been to all the major events. I'm pleased to know all the major players. At many times I am one of those players myself, and that's great. But one thing that we have been lacking is a easy to absorb way to really transfer information to individuals and make sure they're growing. The closest thing we had to it is SHOT Show University, and some of the classes are great there. There are seminars, $25, sometimes, but some of the meat and potato stuff that may or may not help you out, because I didn't structure my event around that. But some of the classes that may or may not even help you out, I mean, these things can be $250 for a seminar for 1 hour. So
Unseen, go in and you experience it for 1 hour and no refunds.
Correct.
There's no video. There's no like, here's a sample. Here's the paperwork or what are the syllabus or anything. Like, here's the documentation you're going to get. I don't even know if you get any, but you don't even get to go observe through the door at SHOT Show.
Nope.
Sorry to interrupt, but yeah.
No, you're fine. That was it. I was at the capstone of it. That's what it is. So
that was 15 minutes. I could not have asked or could not have expected a more effective, concise explanation of the event, where you're at, and even kind of where it came from. So I've got a bunch of stuff that I guess that link didn't work good. So there's a GoFundMe for Aiming for the Truth, which is another thing that KD does, another project that he's had. One that I respected. Well, I respect a lot of stuff you're doing, but this one specifically, Aiming for the Truth, is another layer, another bridge, another direction, vector that KD brings to the community, to all the community. And he's got a GoFundMe over there for Aiming for the Truth. So you can use that 365 anytime you want. But right now, if we all jump in and drop $35 in, if 10 of us at least drop $35 in to that GoFundMe, we just sponsored one of the students over there. And I'm not saying you have to, but I'm hoping that you're inspired by what Katie's talking about here. And I know that most of us aren't able to just, jump in the vehicle and get over there this weekend, although we might want to. And this is a way that we can help vicariously support the project, right? Or maybe even more. It's not vicariously. If we're actually throwing some money down, being capitalists at it, we can help support the project, period. And use that link. Okay, shut up.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Anybody that has any spare change that they can help out with, we will absolutely use it for not only scholarships, for registration, and just for everybody's money secure. Because when I donate, I kind of like to know what happens. So a little bit of it. We are giving people the scholarships once they've attended the event. Then we refund it right then and there. All right. We just want to make sure they got a little skin in the game, so we're not wasting anybody's financial investments. But once we've also had and I've come out my own pocket. I mean, we've had people show up that are now, I can say, are successful. I mean, this has generated in small businesses well over $1 million. This is the reports I'm getting back from the businesses about how they were able to use this information. I mean, we've birthed, I believe, 10 different gun schools around the country. We kept 2 from shutting down. Small businesses have generated a lot of money, and people have their social media presence has grown. We're just not out there playing games. We're making shit happen. We just are. So. But it requires work. It just requires work from an individual. But anyone that helps out, I mean, I've done it myself. There are some people that have got there and didn't have gas money to get back home. That's what we use some of the money for as well. Got people that get there, and we had a couple of times where they were like, "Hey, man, I'll just camp in my car," because they didn't know how the hotel situation was going to work out. We help make sure we got them hotel rooms. So stuff like that is also how we reach in to help out.
Right. So I just do $35 over there to get the prime the pump there. And again, there's no obligation or anything, but it'd be kind of fun to watch $10, $35 ones hit while we're chatting here. First off, again, I can't have asked for a better summary and kind of uh, explanation of the event and the dynamic that you've got this year. You touched on a lot of things. I tried to make some notes here as we went along. First off, let me ask. You came onto my radar, I think, in 18 at Chicago, or was it the year? No, it was in DC. It was in Dallas the year before that. You did a speech, I guess, or whatever they call them, a segment of the gun rights policy conference, and really good. Was it Dallas? I'm trying to remember, but anyway, you did something about the gun rights policy, and you really the gun rights policy, for people that don't know, is a yearly thing put on by the Second Amendment Foundation. The heads and the organizers, the most involved people from these different organizations at state level or areas of interest all show up, and they attend, and they spend the weekend together. And most of those folks have whatever they've been doing is what they're doing. Like, they don't really evolve, they don't really change too much, and they don't really move out of their lanes. And it's not because they're bad folks, they just don't never had the interest. No one's offered it, and there's, you know what I mean, like, there's been no opportunity, and there's been no incentive and no reason to. So everybody's just been playing these games. And I mean, it's like that with almost everything, right? So as things are evolving, more people are coming into the mix, and more issues are being solved. Honestly, like, more issues are being addressed and taken off the playing field or off the game board. The folks that are paying attention are getting inspired by all the different, you know, things that are happening. It was really kind of stagnant for a long time in the 2A. You know, there's very few people jumping in. The kind of the rules had always been the same as a tetherball game or a ping pong game, going back and forth. We've been disrupting that. Is that the right word? Over since, I'd say, about 2015, and gun rights policy kind of is just they're catching up with that. So KD was a big part of kind of waking people up at that event. And since then, I think I said, hey, you can come on anytime you want, use my platform, my soapbox, or whatever, get the word out. And I've been following. And then you started the train and learn in, I guess, 19.
No. What is this? 22? Yeah, 19.
Okay, so in 19, so in other words, KD had been on my radar, and I basically been watching 2A stuff now for a while. So KD's been on my radar, and just like a rocket. I mean, maybe not completely 100% motivated 1,000% of the time, because you have real life and you have other issues going on in the world, and you do more than just 2A and gun stuff. But I mean, just constant improvement and movement and bringing more people on and the event. So I guess with that I don't even know if I needed to do all that, but so since I'm trying to say I've been watching the event for a long time. When you first started the event, did you anticipate an annual event, or was it, let's try to see what happens?
You know, it's funny you asked that. For the first one, I was like, you know what, let's make it niche. Let's make it like 10 to 15 people, right? It's like, we're gonna keep it small. It'll be great, because when you teach, the smaller the classroom, the more information you can get to the students. I'm like, let's make it 10 to 15 people. But I was also gonna bring in like 2 speakers. It was kind of I had the idea. I'm like, yeah, we'll just keep it niche, man. It'll be fun. Be fine. And then I started promoting it. Now I had the capacity to expand it. I was already looking at that. I was like, well, let me be ready to expand it in case. But I was like, if we get 10, 15 people to come out, it'll be a great weekend. These are still 10, 15 people. We get the information. We all share, because I'm going to learn something from them as well. And, it'll be good. And that it didn't happen that way. The 15 tickets sold out in 3 days. So I'm like, all right, but I still got another 3.5, 4 months before the event goes, and I sold out of the 15 tickets. So I'm like, okay, cool, we'll push it to 25. No big deal. I got the capacity. We expanded the teachers. I'm like, okay, we'll do 25. Put it up. In a week, the extra tickets were gone. And so I was like, all right, we're just going to push this thing up to, I'll do it at 50. We wound up having, at the first one, we had 73 people on site. And it was great. It was nice. It was great. The only thing I wanted to do was like, I need to shrink those numbers a little bit, because I'm really, really big on about education and making people making sure they get information. But it was still fun to see how I had an idea from 15 that blew up to over 70 in a matter of months, and people were buying the tickets out. And then the second year, we went right at 60. We wound up having 62 people on site, so 60 became kind of our new 50 to 60 range, just to make sure we are sharing and the information can be absorbed. And then this year was really shocking to me, is even with NRAM dropping on the same weekend, we're still able to get into the high, 80 percentile of what we expected before. So it's been going great. The numbers are looking great. But the original idea, man, to be honest with you, was 10 to 15 people, and it never worked out that way. So I'm glad to see that, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that you were able to adapt and be fluid. Is that the right word for, like, to go with it? Because, if you were a different person, right, a more rigid person, then, well, I'll do it 15, and then next year maybe 25 or 30 or whatever the number, and that would have been a different experience. So I didn't realize that many people. So I guess because of looking at it from the outside, I'm seeing it through the filter of the cameras I chose to pay attention to, right? So different individuals or whoever, and the way that it works, without getting too much into it, is there's a lot of people that show up, but you have these workshops, so people kind of move around in smaller groups of the big group. So I only saw groups, so that means I only saw pieces or facets of it. So my question, I guess, now understanding that there's that many more people showed up, you alluded to it before when you described the event, but it's one of the facets that's unique about it is that you bring together both people already in the industry and then people that are kind of, I would call them media, or the people that are media, and you bring the media people to get the experience from the industry, the training, like you mentioned, medical, not just gun training, but training, industry training, and business training, because everybody can use that. And that whatever it's called, where the cross talents, I guess, you're getting, and then those shooting people get all those media talents and awareness and some training. That aspect of it is completely unique. And now I don't know where I was going with that. I started describing it all, and I started out talking about I lost it. So I just want to, I guess, address that part of it, or shine a light on that again, that you're bringing people together and letting them sample from each other's skill sets, but not accidentally. You're actually fostering that and sort of encouraging it. Oh, I guess what I was asking, sorry, I got sidetracked there, because you've got this whole dynamic going on, and I was interested in that. I didn't realize that you had so many people. How many of them, or if you can remember what the ratio just in general was, industry versus media? Because I guess I'm looking at it mostly through the media cameras and eyeballs that shared, but I wouldn't have seen it through the gun shops. I mean, we know a couple of stories from the gun shops and the manufacturers and stuff, but what was the ratio?
Well, as far as the people that are more the bloggers, YouTubers, podcasters that aren't the actual, let's just say for argument's sake, the normal gun handlers, right? I would say it was about first and second average. I'm going to say it was probably 70-30 gun handlers versus people that really support freedom but don't necessarily pick up the guns all the time. And what I wanted that though. That was intentional, because another thing I wanted, if everybody at first train learn, no matter how I explained to people, they went with their own bias. They're like, oh, it's instructor development. It's an instructor putting it on. I'm like, are instructors the ones really getting out there every day fighting for the constitutional side of what we do? Or is your job primarily to train people, right? Like, we can't just say we're having this if we're looking at the success of this industry, we have to pay attention to every single facet of it that we can. So I wanted, and I encouraged, hey, you know what, man? You're a writer, you're a blogger, you're a great podcaster. Nobody says that you suck at that. You're great at it. All right. We can help you be better, because we even had one of the better podcasters speaking at the first Train Learn. So we can help you be better at that. However, at the same time, this is going to be an environment, and I don't want to use safe space, but this will be a good environment for you to come and be able to say, you know what, man, I take great photos. I love writing about the Second Amendment. I print in magazines, but I don't know how to really handle a gun. Great. That's why we got these different workshops that are going to show you that. With no judgment, we're just going to show you, because now you can add that skill set to what you do when it comes to your journalistic side of things, right? Now you can hold a gun. You know how to properly hold the gun. You can get on people about safety. Now you've added to your skill set. for the people that aren't on the media side so much, now you get to listen to them and why they're asking you certain questions, while they're telling you to do a certain thing. If a guy does a lot of photos for his magazine write-ups, this is why he's telling you to angle things this way. He's teaching you about lighting. He's
Yep.
showing you like, hey, I need you to be over here. Well, now you can use that on your own Instagram page, right? You can use that, and then you can grow and have a more polished page that people love coming to enjoy. Thus, more followers, thus more business. Thus, you use your market to your advantage. So we wanted to have that cross pollination, if you will, because we wanted everybody to understand in order for one of us to make it, you need everyone.
And that's awesome. I was about to ask if that, I'm calling it cross pathway, of creating pathways both. I don't know what to say, but basically that idea that, like what you just said, now that even if you don't become a photographer, when you evaluate the next person who says they'll be your photographer, you can start to see some of the elements that you can actually use. Like, are they, like you just said, lighting? Are they holding the camera in an interesting way? You can actually evaluate their photography skills and their reach and that kind of thing, where before you had just gone at it empty-handed. So I guess I was asking if that, and then the whole idea of you get somebody who might be able to educate or get people because of their knowledge or their ability to get students to a class, they're able to educate well. But yeah, do they realize that they could just as easily add a couple of words to a presentation and allow those students to also become Second Amendment advocates in the process, or understand why what they're doing is, has important roots? And that's something that, again, if they're just not aware of it, to add it. That's the way. I was going to ask if that was intentional, but you addressed it. You wanted to have those elements and set it up that way.
Yeah, we need more of that. This is unfortunately, people don't. I want collectively, not just this industry. Any industry, it's collective. We have to do it. We need to challenge ourselves as a collective, but it starts as an individual to say, you know what am I really trying to do, and what am I trying to be a part of? And if you can get into a space where everyone's there to actually learn, and you have people that are ready to share, they're primed to share information and experiences that you can pull from, then you got to do a better job of sitting your ego down and saying, here's an opportunity for me to learn and grow. Really think about it. How is it that, and if we're going to talk meat potatoes, how is it that Katie can travel the country, sell out classes when it comes to firearms training, and we don't even see him putting up gun videos of him shooting a lot? How are you able to do that? What was your strategy for that? Hey, when I go over here to this guy who only has, he's got a $1,600 camera, which is cool, and a nice lens on it, but for some reason he's able to close contracts, for $1,000 a shoot that took 3 hours. How is he able to do that? How are you able to achieve that? When we had last year, we had an instructor that came in, and notice I said she, because we always make sure we have females. Not only are we want them there, they're also always part of the teaching staff, right? So she broke down in very fine detail, but she made sure you understood the concepts she was using. But she broke down in detail how just off teaching entry-level students, she made $247,000 in 10 months. How were you able to do that? But in order to acquire that information, you have to let your ego down. For advocates, and I know Tony Simon, he's a good mutual buddy of ours. When Tony spoke about advocacy, well, he's going to tell you how to now stay in the game. There is no money in what we do as far as advocacy goes. There is, but there isn't. So when you are looking at that, like, how is Tony able to sustain his event, the Second Amendment diversity shoot? How is he able to sustain that event over the last 3 to 4 years with some help from the industry, but really having to pull his own resources to make it happen? How is he able to do that? Well, he was there to share that. What did it look like to be an advocate? Who did you network with? How did you get arranged to allow you to use their facility if they're not really making any direct money from you? Like, you don't have to pay rent. What was that conversation like? What did you promise them? What were you expecting? How do you stay in it when you got 2 years in and you didn't get the results you wanted? Like, what did you do to stay in? Hell, when you're looking at some people that have what we call quote unquote influence, when you're looking at that and you got guys running around that you recognize, like, oh man, I mean, I've had large YouTube names there, and I've had multimillionaires running around Train to Learn. So if you look at them and say, man, what was the strategy to do this? Now you are at an event where they are primed to answer those questions. Because if you call most of these people outside of that, there is a cost for that information, right? But they are primed right now in the moment to give you information on what we call game. They're willing to do it. And that was what was missing from us. And let's face facts. Here's another thing that's real important. And that's why I tell people nobody can make you get out and execute. Nobody likes you wasting their time. If you're gonna ask a question, at least absorb the information and see if it works to solve whatever problem that you're having. A lot of people have stopped, and I've heard it a lot. Hey man, why aren't, so-and-so used to respond to my DMs and they don't anymore. And you used to respond to DMs and you don't like you used to anymore. Well, imagine this. Imagine having a space to come get all the information at one time over 3 days, and you be able to talk face to face, have that real interaction and build relationships and networking that can be a relationship that is great moving forward. Or do you want to rely on the fact that somebody that might be getting 20 to 25 DMs a day is going to have time to sit and have a detailed conversation with you and the other people that are reaching out to them, plus live their life, run their business, go to work if that's what they do, take care of their family, go out and enjoy their hobbies? It's not a realistic thing to expect. So come to the event, because we're there to help.
I think that one of the aspects of it that I'm assuming, if it wasn't intentional, you saw it and you recognized it and you leaned into it or something. But you mentioned earlier, being able or having a question and asking. You don't really even have to ask. I mean, you're at an event where it's all conducive to learning, so you're either going to just learn it, but I was going to say like osmosis, or you kind of said absorb. You can do the interaction with someone when they're not in a standoffish or in a business situation. You create an environment where people are together, they're working together, they're peers, and they're chatting about things that are important. So it's not a peer get together where everybody's farting off and it's a big joke, which is fine. Everybody needs to de-stress, and you have portions of this where there's less important stuff being done, but medical training, focusing on things that are important. And then again, everybody's together and it's a non-stress environment. So you're going to get a lot of that through absorption, right? You're going to be able to see how a person works. So you may not get, here's the recipe, and the recipe honestly isn't going to work. Somebody's 3 different people bake a cake. Well, there's elevation, humidity, all this stuff that's going to affect the outcome of that cake if they literally follow the same recipe. So everybody's got to understand their circumstances, right? So right. You're not going to get a recipe, but when that person writes the recipe with a notepad and a pen versus emails you the recipe versus pulls a recipe out of their pocket that's already pre-printed, like on a business card, because they're so used to handing out the recipe, that's 3 different things that you absorb about how they got to where they are and the way that they're there and their intent and stuff. That's the kind of stuff that you can't pay for. That's priceless. There's no, and you create an environment, you create the place for that. I've been to those seminars at SHOT Show, and I've could do another show about them, but they're seminars, they're lectures. You go there, you get the information that everyone gets. It's cookie cutter because it is just, it's scripted, it's prepared, and it's presented, and they're telling you what they've already prepared. There might be a Q&A at the end, but now you're in a room full of people who are sterile. You've never met them before. Maybe you might have a relationship with 1 or 2 of them, or you know who they are, but you had no interaction at all. You were all just absorbing as an audience, and you can ask questions that are, inappropriate. It's just difficult to ask a question. That's not a great environment to ask a real question that helps you. You can, do some very polite things. It's about the best you could do. Now you change that to an environment where everybody shows up, everybody's anticipating it because they have a pretty good idea what's going on. A bunch of people already know each other, or they feel like they know each other because of the online, relationships we have. Everybody gets together in the morning, you're training, you're doing stuff, that bonding and that camaraderie that you get as peers doing stuff together, going through the same ordeal, right? You get that. At the end of the day, you're de-stressing and having those casual conversations. Like you said, structured learning how to network, that doesn't exist. Like there's aiming for, there's what is it, the Ambassador Academy. I mean, I'm sure they maybe do something in there, different scale, different, a whole different thing. It's a semi truck versus a limo, right? Like two different things. But having people who know what they're doing offer some insight to like peer group about networking, that is why we're seeing the differences we're seeing in the attacks that we're having today, because of what you, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, I think, but it's because of what you've done with this train and learn. The people that you've created have become strong enough and sent messages out that are important and useful. They've been able to do it better. And then that empowers and encourages and gets others involved. And some of the other projects out there are helping for sure, but you're a big part of this. And the what I'm gonna call your alumni from this are big parts of that, getting the, what's that called? Like just the general feel that, hey, we're winning and now we want back. Like you've taken from us. That general environment is fostered by what you're creating here, because it certainly didn't come from any lecture at a SHOT Show. And it didn't come from any other kind of thing that is designed for a specific either group or organizations. Because like writers get together and have kind of training and up training. Instructors, like you say, will have up training, but it's never so omni focused. I don't know what the right word is. It's never so unilateral. I don't know what the right word is, but so full spectrum. I'll shut up.
No, you're fine, man.
I'm talking, but yeah. Go.
No, I think, and I don't disagree with a word you said, and it's oh, except I'll eat the humble pie. I'm sorry, in one portion of it, but I thank you for the kind words. I want to my personality is one of a bulldozer. What I noticed in the industry, now this is me walking in. I've been dealing with firearms for 21 years. I'm not new to guns at all. However, and I come from the business aspect, though, besides running a very small training company, the business aspect has shown me one thing that this industry did very wrong. Most of our relationships don't see their potential because people are worried about personalities. They take personalities personal, and you shouldn't do that when it comes to business. So, number one, I'll give you the free 101. 101 about networking has nothing to do with a person's personality. You are too busy taking personalities personal. You have to understand what part in your view, right, your worldview, does this individual play. What this industry has been so tied up on when it comes to networking is who I like and who I don't like. I don't care. I don't care. I stand next to people all the time that I can tell because I'm very strong in my opinion. That's who I am, though. That's who I am as a person. I research everything I say before I say it. And when I say it, I'm going to stand on it. I will have all the conversation and dialogue about it. So if somebody has gotten their feelings hurt from an Instagram post or a live they watched, or they saw me in a magazine and I said a thing, and they're like, oh, I disagree with that. I don't like this guy. You have no idea what benefit I can be to whatever your mission is. Vice versa. That's why I don't run around acting like I have to like you. I don't even care. My thing is, are we here for a collective reason? Are we here to get things done? Are we here to be successful in that mission? Well, number one thing about networking is stop taking personalities personal. Do the network. What part of your worldview can this individual assist with? And then be ready to answer that question for them. How can you help them? Is it simply showing them that it doesn't matter? Hey, how many people that I've had come up to me and say, I really didn't like you. And me and those individuals have went on to create fantastic relationships, right? So don't do that. If you want free game, stop taking personalities personal. You have to be able to walk into an environment and say, okay, this is the reason why I'm here. I get that the event's job is to tell me all these beautiful, wonderful things, right? Because they are laying them out for me. And that's great. I wouldn't be here if I didn't feel comfortable. But what am I trying to do? How do I communicate with individuals? How do I make them feel comfortable with me? How do I know from a conversation if they're going to be, beneficial? Is this just a buddy I'm meeting? And you know what? Hey, I got a good friend and maybe we'll figure out how we can help out each other out in business in the next year or so. Great. That's fine too, right? That is absolutely fine. Or have I been trying to get over this hurdle and this individual really seems to have the answer? but I'm too distracted by the fact that I don't like the shirt that they have on because I don't like the sand on it, or I don't like the way that the guy or the girl brushes their hair backwards, or I don't like the way that he speaks up for the Black community, or I don't like the way that this guy talks about the Hispanic community. If you get so bogged down in that stuff where you are no longer a professional, you are a sensitive person that will never thrive and survive in business. You go into any large scale, go into a Coca-Cola, Pepsi, General Mills, Tesla, any of these large, Walmart, any of these large places, right, on a corporate level. Do you really think that these people that are churning and making these billions and billions upon dollars are worried about if they like the COO of the company? Or are they worried about that we're being successful in what we're trying to do? And that's where it starts. That's where it matters. So stop taking personalities personal. This industry in particular needs to get over that. Oh, I don't like so-and-so. I don't like so-and-so. I don't. And people ask me, hey, do you like? I'm like, what am I? Why am I concerned about who I like and who I don't like? What I'm concerned about is my mission, whatever my individual mission is, and how I can create a synergy with other individuals around me to do my part in expanding freedom. That's it. From there, I now have a foundation to work off of. So in short, we need to grow up and we need to understand how networking actually works, what you should be looking for, what you should and shouldn't care about. Rule number one, stop taking personalities personal.
Do you love it? And that's, I put in there that pettiness, something about professionalism, right? So I think that you hit it there. We need to grow up, right? So and an earlier, I didn't want to interrupt again, but the idea that as advocates, we are not going to make money. All of those can be challenged because those are only paradigms of the past, right? Like those are all things that have been the case, but they're not, it's not physics. They're not going to be there forever. And the idea that, like you said, people are getting bogged down by the personalities and the shirt, let's just use that one, right? I don't like the shirt type of thing. Then that's true. Like, but here's the thing: how often does that person care about the shirt of the gun owner, or the gun manufacturer, or the distributor, or the shop owner, or the, the holster maker, or the bullet maker? They don't really care. They're selectively caring about something because they're really looking to not worry about whatever the issue is, probably, right, or some other thing. So I think that a part of that is that we've depended on the part-time activists, the hobby activists, right? We don't have large organizations hiring people. I mean, we barely have Gun Owners of America starting this idea of a state director, right? After they've been around since 1975. So, we've never had activists appreciated or funded. And it's been up to the activists to either be lucky and we are deemed, hey, we get a couple of rich people that call themselves activists. And the result of that, is up to you to decide, depending on the situation. But we very rarely have like a Tony Simon, and we can all know who we're talking about, who, gets wealthy out of nowhere and can just do what he does good. So what you're offering and what the Train and Learn provides is the opportunity for us to grow up as a community, as activists, to take value in what you offer and then understand how to monetize that in a way that's capitalist, right? Like we have to fund these things, and just like we wouldn't expect ammunition manufacturers to do it in their part-time, like when you get home from your work, your 9 to 5, make ammo for us, and then maybe we'll buy it off you if we like it. I mean, but activists, dance for us, and if we like it, we'll throw a dime or two at you. We can change that, and one of the ways you change that is the activists themselves have to learn that their value, right? They're a part of the industry, and that, like a writer and anything else, an instructor, nobody's given it to you, but you're allowed to sit at the table and participate with your slice, right? With your part, your portion.
I could not agree with you more. And one thing that I will add to that is you got to know how to present that value.
Like that's the thing. That's what you're offering, and that's nobody else is doing that. Nobody's even addressed that I'm aware of ever. So, again, thank you for that. I'm going to try to shut up because I'm bad at this. I just wing it. But people have been asking questions live, and I do encourage it. So I'm going to attempt for the last couple of minutes we've got with KD here to address some of those. So Smeggy out in California says, sometimes knowing who can help is better than knowing it yourself.
Oh,
I'll leave you go for that. Yeah, go for it.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Delegation is a big thing. You think CEOs know everything about what they do with their companies? Let's be honest.
That's
Many of them don't. Even when you have stories, and I get into a lot of these business stories, right? Some of my research, and I forget I read them or whatever, but I go back and I'm infatuated with business. All right, the structure of it. There are CEOs right now that couldn't tell you. Do you really think that some of the higher ups at McDonald's know how to actually bag fries? They don't know. They know that they have managers and people like that that are teaching people how to bag fries and flip burgers. Their job is something different. They don't know everything about the financing. That is somebody different. They don't know everything about corporate laws and how corporations should act and UCCs and things like that. That's not their job. They hire people that can do that. So he's absolutely right. You have to understand, I'm not going to know everything. Where can I pull the information from? Or who can I, lean on to be the subject matter expert? Thus, you can focus on what you're really good at. What's your core? What is your core skill set? And you can develop that and go out and be awesome at that while understanding how you have complementary pieces around you. So he is absolutely correct.
You learn how to be the piece that other people depend on while you're dependent on them to be their piece. And that's what Train and Learn provides, is not just the opportunity to meet a couple other pieces in the big puzzle, but how people prioritize, how people structure their relationships, right? Like, again, watching over the shoulder of someone who knows what's going on can be a million times more effective than reading what they wrote down about what they do, right? Like just seeing how they do things or what they take in stride, what they stress out about. Okay, I'll keep going. Smeggy says, I have a question. If a person goes each year to the No Other Choice Train and Learn event, will they be able to build upon what they learned in past years? It's a question. And how do you balance that with still being useful for the new attendees?
So, very good question. A very, very, very good question. I love that question. And so, what we have is what I designed is what I call a floating syllabus, right? So, in that, every year is not the same information, right? So, the drawback is, hey, if you didn't make year 2 and you made year 3, there's gonna be something, because with so many different versatile areas we have to talk about, there might be something that you missed in year 2 that was not covered in year 3, because we are floating that syllabus around. We are always attacking things that are relevant to that day or that year based off what our industry is experiencing. So we don't want to regurgitate the exact same information every year. So there is an opportunity to miss things if you miss the events. Now, let's say you get into a rhythm and you start attending all the events. Every year for you will not be the same. So you're going to be able to add brand new skill sets or brand new information every single time you come, because it's never going to be the exact same information. We're not going to have the exact same speakers. We're not going to have the exact same instructors on the range. We're not always going to have the exact same network. Something is always significantly going to change that's going to be new to you. So it won't be the same. That's why people are coming back. People that have been, I got a lot of people that are going to be at even the third one, that have been at the first one, the second one, and the third one. And the event itself is structuring, right? Because I started a thing, I'm 3 years in. I mean, I am always also, me and my staff are always trying to figure out how to make the event better itself. But the first thing we wanted to do is make sure that we switched up that syllabus, so you're not running into that problem. Like, man, this is cool, but I've been talking about the same thing for 3 years now. No, they're like, every time I come back, there is something new that is being presented in many different ways that's going to help me get better even more, because I didn't hear that 2 years ago. I didn't hear that last year. So that's the answer to that.
That's awesome. And just by watching the event over the years, you start to see the facets that are valued and the things that you may not have known about just by paying attention. And then I was going to throw in, if you are attending for multiple years, seeing the event change or watching it evolve becomes a whole other layer, and gives you another layer of what's the word, like community with with those alumni that are going year after year, because you all experienced each episode, but also the running story. Santee TV down in Houston sounds like a well-rounded training, not just in one area. Oh man, completely. This is unprecedented. But I'm gonna stop saying. I'll let you keep it.
Oh no, big shout out to Santee. I appreciate that, and I just appreciate it. I really do. And we're going to continue to get to get better. I challenge myself to get better every single day, as I'm sure you do and many of the listeners do. And so my job is to make sure that the experience itself is constantly improving and getting better for everyone else. I don't want to ever get settled and say, oh, you had this great idea, so just stop. No, it's constantly evolving, constantly looking to get better. Even when you consider the different learning styles and information being presented, one thing that I look at Train and Learn is who is coming regularly. Right. And what are they doing? And what are they doing great? And I keep my eyes on people. I'm not the guy you're going to see comment under a lot of posts and things like that. But I watch a lot. I watch how people move. I watch how they move behind the scenes. I'm watching them. I am looking to pull even from the student base to eventually elevate them to the presenters. So it's just not an area where you are, coming when we see that you are actually developing and you're gaining skill and you're doing the thing well, now you have a story.
Right.
You have something you can share. So now we want to put you as a subject matter expert in front of 60 industry peers. Now these are 60 people that are going to be leaning on you now. So not just come. Eventually, we're going to look at who can we help elevate as well.
I love it. Well, that's what you do in military. You do that in law enforcement. You do that in other, I'm sure, in paramedic. Anytime you've got where on-the-job training is developing and evolving, and you need those people that are veterans of the fight to de-stress and then to help them calibrate to go back and give a sit rep of what they just experienced. So that element of it is well established. Yeah, that's awesome. Bringing in night vision, familiarization, and introduction is very valuable. People don't. It's like high quality optics on a scope. People that have never shot at distance with high quality optics don't value it because they haven't experienced it. And having decent night vision, thermal, or hybrids, just having some opportunity to have familiarization is something that it's not possible to. It's like virtual reality. If anybody's played with the virtual reality games, and it's hard to describe that to someone because it's so immersive. Is that the way I say it? So having that opportunity to play with night vision is again, it's unprecedented. You can go to classes and bring your own $20,000 worth of night vision and see all kinds of cool stuff. That is the ticket to get to that ride. But without $20,000 worth of stuff, maybe after going to Train and Learn and you're a good media person, you can get into those kind of classes and experience some of it. But typically people that own $20,000 flashlights that strap to your head that can get bumped on stuff when you're not familiar with having a $20,000 flashlight strapped to your head, don't let other people touch that. When you put a $10,000 light on your gun or scope on your gun, you don't usually hand that off to somebody to fiddle with it. And that is, again, something that once you've experienced it, being immersed in it, you understand what own the night is, and you understand why our military and most police at this point, when they're doing that kind of terrorism stuff, I shouldn't say it that way, you know what I mean? They're doing the actual combative stuff, do it at night so that you can do it in an environment that you own. And when we say that, or when it's said, again, I'm attempting to explain what an awesome opportunity that alone is. I'm assuming someone would pay $350 if they're evaluating a $10,000 flashlight. They're going to pay $350 just to have an opportunity to go out at night and put hands and eyeballs into night vision and thermal.
I really like the way that you broke that down because I could not figure out a way to say it like that. So thank you. What I wanted people to get is like, I don't want it because the reason we do that, it is a hell of an experience. And if you're in this industry, no matter what you do, it's two things that you do that are really, really awesome, in my opinion. Like it's the pinnacle, the average pinnacle to what we do. That is long range shooting, to your point, great guns, I mean, we're talking $6,000-7,000 glass on some of these guns, and really seeing and knowing what it feels like to ring steel at a mile. Right. I've had the privilege of hitting a shot at a mile, about a little bit shy of a mile and a half, right out in Wyoming, and I've shot long range, and I've been around all the cool stuff, and I've seen all the cool things, and I have some of the cool stuff, right? I have guns that are really, really expensive, and then when we start looking at it, though, what I've always noticed is, there are great people out there that want to share great information. Do not get me wrong. This is not me crapping on the entire industry. But there are also a lot of people that have it And then it becomes more of an Instagram brag. It becomes more of a flex, if you will. I have this thing. You don't know what this is like. You won't experience this. Haha, I'm cool. Like my page where you can at least see the stuff that I do, right, with it. And my mentality is, well, I guess everybody has a right to feel that way. But my mentality is, you know what, sure. Yeah, it's a lot of money. I mean, hell, the rifle that I'm going to be letting people use with the illuminator itself is 3,600 bucks by itself. We haven't got to the gun yet, right? But what I want people to be able to do is to say, oh, I'm in an environment where people actually just want to help me experience new things, learn new things, see new things. I'm actually somewhere where this is truly feels like it's all about me. And they don't care that it's their expensive rifle. They don't care that they don't think that they're the cool kids. So we're going to have 4 people probably laying out about a total of about $150,000 worth of gear. Right. But it's OK. We want you to have that experience. If nothing else, you get to go back and tell your family, if anything else, I really got to do something cool. This industry is full of amazing people and amazing things that we can do. And then you're inspired. You know, just because somebody said, hey, man, I might have the opportunity to have this. Hell, maybe you got a $100,000 Corvette that you might let me drive one day. Maybe that's what you have at home. But right now I have this. And I want you to know that I care enough about you having this experience that here is my $20,000 setup. Have fun, man. Here's a mag full of ammo. I want you to have fun, enjoy this experience, and let's talk about it when it's done. That's another part of networking because you're going to meet new people. So thank you for saying that. And the only thing I will add too with the training, it's very important. The first train to learn, we had one student that was there who had never been to a formal training class before, had been in the industry, just never been to a formal, any type of formal training. Unfortunately, before he even got a chance, once the event ended and he traveled home, once he got home, he still had on the clothes that he traveled in. And unfortunately, he had to use the skill set he had just learned not 24 hours ago to defeat a threat. He actually got into a live gun battle to protect him and his child. He won the gun battle. Bad guy lost. Bad guy goes in the ground. Good guy gets to go home. So we're not just there just saying, hey, we're playing around here, right? Yeah, we want your business to grow, but we also want you to be safe, right? Well-rounded approach to it. So it's not that we aren't really teaching you. So he credits, this isn't my words, these are his words. He credits that event to actually saving his life.
And his son was with him.
Yeah, his 5-year-old son was with him.
And again, that's so in other words, the firearms training elements of it, and the medical training for that matter, and the business training for that matter, are real training, not what's the word, like tastes or samples. These are actual courses.
Yes. Yep.
Santee again says, I'm really seriously planning on going to the next one. Sounds like a great investment.
We hope to see you there. One thing that and this is a hard thing to do sometimes because I understand how hard we all work for our money. And I mean that, man. Money is a real thing. I tell that to people all the time. People are like, hey, go buy this, $3,500 staccato. I'm like, money is a real thing. It's, you just can't, like, you got to be careful with money. People have lives, like they're trying to do a lot of stuff. And then there's the balance to saying, and this is me harping on the investment. The reason why it's priced the way that it's priced is because I didn't set this up to be a money grab. I set this up to be something that enhances the abilities of the attendees and thus makes this industry stronger, right? So you got to be willing to put some skin in the game, right? So if you have signed up for any mid-level gun class, just a gun class, right? A good pistol class can run you between, for one day, average about $2 to $2.25, right? Depending if you're really training with somebody that's been out there doing it for a while. About $2.25 a day. Well, for an additional $100, I'm giving you 3 days. And we're throwing in a pistol, and we're throwing in medical, and we're throwing in hand-to-hand, and we're throwing in rifle, and we're giving you 5 business workshops, and we're feeding you 3 times, and we're teaching you how to network, and we're collaborating with you, and we're giving you content for your channel. So I'm glad to see Santee is one of the people that comes out and says, hey, great. Seems like a worthy investment, because I want people to feel that way. What I also have to balance is the people that complain about spending $350. Well, in the realm of business, the business realm of me, I cannot feel sympathy for you, because I know money is real. And if you don't have it, you don't have it. But to complain about, oh man, $350, it's like, you've never been. The last, I love public speaking, right? One of the last public speaking classes that I unfortunately I missed because I had family obligations, but I was ready. You know, I've been knowing about it. I had put the money up for 6 or 7 months, you know, chipping away at it. It was $5 grand for 2 days. You know, so when I'm looking at $350 for 3 days, that includes 3 meals. And hell, I'm giving you a swag bag. You're also going to have the chance to win 1 of 2 free rifles. We're also giving away $3,000 worth of gifts and prizes. And we're giving you if you indulge, we're giving you a cigar, we're giving you a pour of bourbon. Hell, at a bar, that's $35-$40 right there. Right. So I'm just thankful to see. Sorry for the venting. I'm just thankful to see that somebody actually said that. So thank you, Santi TV.
And that's the thing, is the value side of it. It's not a thing. I mean, it's basically it's the return on the investment that way. Just for the experience is no, right? Because you're for under $1,000, you're traveling there, you're getting the hotel and the event. But well, okay, wasn't it, and it didn't work. But basically, yeah, the value of it is nuts. I think the other side of it, what you would get. I mean, if you just started attempting to what should I say? If you tried to go to enough events to get the return on what you're getting there, you know that you'd have to go to a medical event, you'd have to go to another handgun event, you'd have to go to a business seminar, maybe, you know, you'd have to go to a tasting or a cigar. Is that a tasting also? I don't know what you call it when you smoke a cigar. But, you know, you'd have to go to a familiarization class. All these things are available a la carte. So the value is crazy. But the fact that it's all together and you're doing it with a bunch of peers, that's the part I was having trouble with words. Like, that's priceless. You can't, there is no other option for that. There's no, oh, I'm going to get it from the other brand or something. Like, there's no one else offering anything like this.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
That was a horrible attempt to get it out.
It was great. It was great.
So then we get Angel King saying, "Thank you guys. I always feel like I'm fighting by myself, for myself, by myself, which seems pointless, but it's hard knowing how to be any good help." So let's late in the interview, it's like a whole conversation. Trust me, we haven't even talked about aiming for the truth. KD's other efforts in, I'm going to say, I don't know what to call it, community value. I don't know how you would summarize it, but KD can definitely address this. I'll shut up and let you address it. But
you know, I get what you're saying, AK. I get it, man. It's you get to feeling like you're on an island, right? Like you're punching at air. Like you got all these great dreams and things that you want to do, and you just want to get together with the team and make it happen, and it just feels like it's pointless. I get it, and I totally understand the frustration. Here's the thing, though: you got to just stand strong in what you're doing and keep pushing forward. Be methodical, be calculated in your moves, and make it happen. So, for example, bringing up the aiming for the truth. Aiming for the truth is my community outreach program, and I've been doing that in one weird way or another since I was 15 years old, just trying to figure out how I can help my community and help those around me that had a unique experience, which was my experience. I'm from the slums. I'm from the ghetto. I come from true poverty in a very true definition of the word. So it's important to me that when I'm looking at my mission in life, that it didn't always include a gun. You know, I wanted to teach young men and young women how to defeat mental illness. That's something that I'm a survivor of, is mental illness and depression and clinical anxiety. I wanted to teach individuals how to look at what life really is. I wanted to make sure that we broke generational curses and we put dads back into the lives of their children. We encouraged men to be strong. We encouraged women to have value, because what I saw is women were loose with their bodies and men were loose with their bodies and just taking life for granted. So all that to be said, when I formed Aiming for the Truth, that's what it was about. It was about making sure that we're building up Americans. And it started in my community, but Aiming for the Truth can apply to anybody. So if I would have gave up, I wouldn't have had, to this day, 120 fathers that we have fostered relationships back with their children, right? And those children now have dads. That relationship is probably going to keep those kids out of a lot of crap that they shouldn't be into, right? And plus, it gives the father value and a job and something important to do in life. So now he's not out doing reckless or dangerous things, because now he realized that he wants to love his children, right? So when I was able to sit back and say that we helped get about 50 to 55 individuals employment, we were able to teach dozens of young men how to read and write. We were able to teach dozens of people how to formulate a resume and help them with mock interview skills. We were able to get dozens of people to actually go talk to a therapist about things going on in their life, and not just say, oh, I'm going to deal with it. And I think the military is horrible for that. They are one of the biggest groups of people that see trauma and just say, oh, they laugh it off and joke it off because they don't know how to deal with it, right? We have to be okay with going to deal with our issues. But if I would have gave up, then that's a lot of people through me and my network. I'm not doing all this by myself. That wouldn't have been helped. So I will encourage you to stay strong, stay fruitful, and remember, if you stop, there's somebody that's going to need you that won't have you. We should all enter this thing, whatever your mission is, to help one. Because if you help change one life, man, that's a hell of a job, right? Because we don't have to help change any, right? So just stay true to you are. So yeah, I'm not just a quote unquote gun guy. I tell people all the time, if you want to insult me, call me a gun guy. That's probably the worst thing you can call me, because the gun is great, but what are we using the gun to protect? The Constitution is awesome, but what are we using the Constitution? Why are we fighting for these things, right? Why do we want to have them? So sometimes you're going to help people with a gun. Sometimes you're going to help them with words. But we have to stay true to whatever we do. And don't be afraid of failure. It's going to happen. I've fallen on my face more times than I have won. Trust me. I have lost more battles than I have won. That is a fact. However, we have to stay strong at what we're doing in order to make a true impact on Americans' lives. We have to be able to really reach out and help foster individuals. And if we give up, we won't be there for them.
Right on. I appreciate that. That's, again, a good summary of what I was kind of going for with aiming for the truth. And I think that's also a great indication of KD's ability to inspire. So I highly encourage you to check out his Instagram channel. He goes live, not necessarily on a schedule, when something's up or you got something to talk about or whatever. I wish you would do it more on YouTube. He kind of started there on YouTube, but whatever's clever. Check him out on Instagram, because even if he's riffing on something else, you get inspired by watching people who are effective do their thing. And so AK is talking about kind of motivation there. And you're not always going to get, there's no ribbon, there's no medal. I mean, every once in a while we pat each other on the back or something, or say thanks, or we acknowledge each other, but that's not what we're doing it for, which is the occasional consequence of it. But going into it, just like KD said, if you can, be satisfied with reaching one person, that's all it takes, man. We're just all puzzle pieces, right? So go watch what other people's puzzle pieces are doing, and then figure out where you can fit or where you could help. For now, you change too. So I just wanted to add to that just KD inspires, and hopefully that can be useful. Just go check out his Instagram and watch for a while. Pay attention when he's live.
Thanks,
next one. Is it okay if we keep going? We're over an hour.
No,
here.
man, I'm not even done with my cigar yet, so I'm fine. Keep going.
Appreciate it. So that way we can wrap them up. So that's also a reminder for anybody who is watching live. We've got quite a few people chatting with us live. Feel free to ask a question. I do everything I can live, and KD's willing. So ask a question and we'll get it up here. G23 up in Oregon asks, or says, I guess, I want to be a better voice for the reformed felons who have gotten their rights back, and to teach people who want to be able to have a voice to promote new 2A channels. So he's got a couple of goals there, and I know there's a couple of projects out there for the whole 2A rights and rights in general, and felons, and it's your show. Go for it.
Well, no, you're fine. G23. What I will say is this, man. Kudos for not being afraid to put felons and 2A in the same sentence. So kudos to you. The first thing I would say is you should reach out. I know you can find it on Instagram. Reach out to a page called Felons with Firearms. The young man that runs it, I've met him a couple of times. I've sat and had dinner with him. He's got a great mission, a great story. It's called Felons with Firearms. Devin's a really good guy, and that's what he does. He goes around and he helps educate felons how to get their gun rights back. And there is a process to it, but he can explain it better than I can in the way he approaches it. But that should be the first thing you do. If you're looking for an ally, somebody that already has some information on that, that's been doing it for a few years, I will reach out to Felons with Firearms on Instagram. Shoot him a DM. From what he tells me, he always responds to his DMs, and build a relationship from there. And then when it comes to promoting 2A channels and things like that, just do it. You know, if you want to, and I don't know if in that sentence I'm reading that wrong, but if you want to just promote new voices on the 2A channel, just promote them, man. I think all of us appreciate the shares, you know, you're telling people about our pages. And if you want to become a voice, then do that. Just do it. There is no, I mean, well, coming to Train and Learn, obviously we can help you lay a platform for that, a foundation and a blueprint and the path forward. But it all starts with just the initiative, just that day you don't feel like doing it, it's the day you should do it. Kind of like going to work out, right? The day you have your best workout is the day you felt like you should skip it. Just get up and do it. You know, one day I was in local St. Louis is where I'm from. I'm in the St. Louis area. I'm a known name there. I'm doing my thing. It's cool. And I'm just doing it out of my heart. I'm doing it for the passion of it. And I'm saying this because it's real in the conversation. I just stuck to my mission. I blinked and I was on the cover of Time magazine. You just have to do it. And sometimes you have to do it just because it's in you, and then you can start formulating a plan around it. But if you got a passion for it, just do it. Just cut on the damn camera. That's how I did it. One day I was just like, oh, what is this live thing you can do on Facebook? This is, oh, the live, you can just talk. Okay, let me click this button. And I just started talking. And the next thing you know, I've been privileged to share my voice in and outside of the Second Amendment community. I've been able to stand in front of what was it? A total of 26 or 2,700 community leaders in California, police chiefs, superintendents, school principals, sheriff deputies, probation and parole officers, and all these different leaders in their communities, from the law enforcement aspect or just general leaders dealing with the civil systems. And I'm standing there and I'm educating them on how to have better interactions with members of their communities. So that wouldn't have happened if I didn't ever say, let me just do it. So just do it, and then figure everything else out as it comes along. So do that. Come to the next year's Train and Learn. We'll help you continue to push forward.
Right on. Just an aside, G23 does a podcast on Saturdays. He's a couple years into it, and definitely living what you're suggesting there. But another thing is you had no way to know, but he got banned from Instagram for something. So he'll have to, I just put the link to Felons with Firearms, their website, so G23 can check it out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So yeah, Instagram. Yeah. I'm sorry, because they will definitely do that. And so if you're, I will say this directly to G23. My email is nocccw@gmail.com. So NOC Charlie Whiskey @gmail.com. If you got a podcast, send me an invite. We'll work out a schedule. I'll pop on it for you.
Right on. That's cool. And I'm definitely, he'd appreciate it, because he definitely interviews people on Saturday afternoons. Let's see. So Smeggy says, everyone needs an elevator speech to explain what they do and how they can help a business if they work together.
Yep, we can help you formulate those. I think we actually cover elevator speeches. I think year one or year two, we covered that. Yeah, you got to be able to hit it. Elevator speeches are very, very important. It is something that I struggle with a lot, but I've gotten better at it over the years. That was one of my weak areas, because I do so much. So I'm trying to get people inspired by the community outreach, but then trying to let them know, like, I am a gun guy and I do this. So, but yeah, he's absolutely right. You got to be able to sit down and formulate the elevator speech. It's kind of understanding who you're talking to, what's going to trigger their brain, what do they need to know. Yeah, just like if you're submitting a proposal. You know, I've seen people submit proposals to, you know, they're trying to get it to, you know, decision makers that are high level executives of different organizations in and outside of guns. And I'm looking at them like, man, this is 35 pages long. No CEO has time to read 35 pages. They don't even read 35 pages of their own business stuff. Somebody's breaking that down for them, giving them bullet points. So you got to be able to summarize and get things done quickly. I totally agree.
And taking an eraser to something unaware is not the way to do it. So that's, again, one of those things that you get the value from experience and from people that are willing to share their experience. Barbecue saying, I've been wanting to go for the last couple of years, just some travel hurdles and whatnot that I have to figure out being blind. Fingers crossed I can make it next year.
Yeah. Blind, like.
Oh yeah, sorry, he's lost his vision. He's got a bit of stuff left, but he's lost his vision fairly recently, and dealing with it, and getting accustomed to travel and that kind of thing, as opposed to just used to be a truck driver, I think, for a while. But again, somebody who advocates quite a bit. He has a couple of podcasts a week, and then he does a project called Two-Way Women Wednesday, where he tries to interview females all around the spectrum of the Second Amendment each Wednesday, give them an hour and a half to present their projects and what they've been up to.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear about that. That's I know that's difficult to deal with. But however we can help you out with that, if you want to attend the event, however we can help you out, let me know. Same thing, my email, noccw@gmail.com. Let me know. And you can also send me an invite or send me a schedule for the podcast. And I'm privileged enough to know a lot of the young ladies in this game. So if there's somebody you're trying to reach that you can't, or somebody you want to have on, or you're wanting to know who else might be out there, I can definitely toss a few names your way and make the introductions and see if we can get you some more content and get some more female voices out there.
Awesome. So thank you for that. I know he's going to appreciate that. And then we did get a $10 super chat, which will help offset some of the funds going over to GoFundMe. So I threw that in there too. So first off, thanks for Gun Library Garrett, who's a supporter of our projects here and others out there. He's in, as you can tell in the name, Gun Library Garrett. He's a big fan of the bookshelf. So I guess he didn't ask a question, but let me, because of that super chat, let me ask, do you have a book off the top of your head that you'd recommend? Just throwing it out there randomly.
A good book for the brain, and thanks for the super chat, by the way. For the brain, I would say, grab a book called Cognitive Theory. It's a really good book to explain how cognition in the brain works. That'll be one for, kind of understanding, how our brains function and things like that, and how we take information in and how we process it. And a book outside of that, I would say that everybody should read. It's called The Burning. It's a book called The Burning about Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921 by Tom Madigan. It's a very, very good book. So The Burning is the name of it. You can get both of those books on Amazon.
Okay, I'm grabbing the one, but I haven't heard of The Burning before. So let me open up another tab and grab that one. That's going to be about the Tulsa 1921?
Yeah, the Tulsa 1921 race massacre. It's a really, really good, interesting book to read. So it's something you should know because it was nicknamed America's Black Eye. So a lot of people don't know about it. Some have heard of it, but they really don't know the details. And if you read that book, it goes to show you travesties that have happened, but it also breaks it. You get to see real time how the government will play a part in different areas of massacring their own people, even if they're not the ones doing it. It's just a really interesting thing to see how our government works and what they allow to happen to people, and then how they help hide it and then convince other Americans that this particular group of Americans are making it all up. I highly recommend it. The Burn.
Wait, you're saying that the government is going to be involved in trying to get people to think other people are making stuff up? That's crazy when they're actually just talking about history. So yeah, definitely apt, I would say, to recently, last couple of years. But and I didn't mean to be late of any of that, but the 1921 Tulsa riots is what you brought up when I was alluding to a presentation you did at Gun Rights Policy, and the way you did that was awesome.
I think that was Chicago.
It was okay, or it
Okay.
was Chicago. I mean, I was saying okay, thanks, because I don't remember. I remember that I was looking. I remember when it happened. I just can't remember the room anymore because I was actually paying that much attention, probably, to the way that the room reacted. That was the way. That was the thing. So, anyway, I don't want to get into too many tangents. My question was that I appreciate the link about the 1921 Tulsa riots, but what that did is, one, it inspired me to learn about that aspect of that specific aspect, right? That of, like you said, a black eye in history. So because people are ashamed or because people don't know or whatever reasons, they're not bringing it up. So it's not in history class. People don't know about it. I mean, there's probably a million things we don't know about in history classes, right? Well, there are literally millions of things we don't know about. But so I started to dig in and include that facet when I do 2A research. And what I've discovered is there was now I'm going to mess it up. The Red Summer, that was 1919. It's like
Yeah, 1919. Red Summer 1919. Yeah, that was another horrible. Oh, look at you. All right,
Well,
look at you. I see you out there. Okay, good job, man. Yeah, 1919. The Red Summer is another, and there's a book on that too. Actually, I believe the book is just titled Red Summer.
There's a similar book that would describe the Red Summer, because that's a thing, again, that nobody talks about. And that's, I mean, I don't want to say it's worse because it's not, it's judging horrible stuff, but it is important, right? It's just as important. And it was a couple years earlier, and it's something that it's completely swept under the rug. And I don't want to poke fingers in wounds for no reason, but I think that if you don't know your history, you're going to repeat it. And we are seeing things that are, I don't want to say, what do they say? His history is similar or something, or some saying like that. So there's things to learn. And I guess if I'm saying this again, is there a book that summarizes the Red Summer?
Yeah, it's actually called Red Summer.
That's easy. Okay.
Yep, it's actually called Red Summer.
So without getting too much into that, anytime you want to come on, and I'd happy to be doing that anytime that isn't Black History Month, right? And so anytime you want to do that, bring people on and have a conversation about either Tulsa, maybe anniversaries of the actual things, if that's appropriate, or stuff about Red Summer, can bring these things up, not necessarily in reaction to some other thing when people are shaking the jar, as they say, but to bring things up that are important but not urgent. Is that the way to say it? Like, so that people realize things and not in reaction to something else that doesn't seem political. But anyway, the door's always open for that. If you ever have that itch or you like to explore it, the door's open and I'm interested. And I'm not knowledgeable. I'm just interested. So, I'm definitely interested to learn. I'm willing to learn, or interested to learn.
Okay, absolutely.
All right. With that being said, we did get another super chat from Pat from Nebraska, and they have an event coming up called Thunder on the Prairie, which is a group of people that get together in live conversations, decided to create an event. And I love to see these types of things. I consider them the evolution of the community. Back when I started shooting, when I was a kid, we had gun shows. That was it. I mean, I guess technically there was a SHOT Show, nobody was invited, right? There was some industry events, but there was gun shows, and that was it. What we're seeing is the expansion of that in all different kinds of ways. Their event, Thunder on the Prairie, is just some guys getting together and bringing some industry involvement, I guess, sponsorship into it. And again, that's what Train and Learn is all about, is to give people the ability to exercise that aspect as capitalists, as people who are a part of the industry, to understand our role, to appreciate it, to value your role, and then to give you some skill set and some encouragement and some contacts to do all that better. So with that being said, I don't know if that even set you up for anything or if it just fluffed you up again, but do you want to riff on that at all?
No, well, hey, I'll thank Pat for the super chat for the channel, and it is it's great to know that there's something different out there. I love learning about new things. So what I would say is kudos for being able to think outside of the box and do something that you felt was needed, something you think that could be that could help bolster the industry and get people involved in good conversation. So I'm all about the movers and shakers, man, and people doing things different. So, hats off to you for planning something. And if anybody's never planned an event, then you don't know the pressure and the logistical nightmares that happen, and not sleeping at night because they're going to be successful, or answering all the emails and phone calls and searching for sponsorships, and treating everyone that's attending as an individual. Then they have their own individual needs. It is a lot that goes into it. So shouts out for being willing to take on that challenge and do something you felt was needed.
Right on. So I'm going to just say we all know that it's Defense Dad and Travis that are setting it up, but since Pat is in Nebraska with DJ up there, I figured I'd give Nebraska the shout out for Thunder on it's Thunder on the Range. I keep calling it Thunder on the Prairie, whatever. But sorry, I'm stereotyping Nebraska as being a bunch of prairies. I wanted to end it because we're at 90 minutes, and I wanted to give KD the mic for the end of it. So again, thanks everybody who showed up live tonight. There is a challenge out there over on the GoFundMe. No platform is perfect, but tonight the challenge is to drop $35 on the Aiming for the Truth GoFundMe. If we get 10 people to participate, then we've helped sponsor one of the participants at the Train and Learn this year, just as a fun exercise and a way to distribute some capitalism around for the Second Amendment. But again, I'll say thanks again to y'all for showing up in the live chat and giving us some questions. And thanks to KD for showing up. Take as much time as you'd like here to wrap up. And then I'll just click end. I guess I'll probably put a commercial end there, and then stick around and we'll chat off air if you would. But thanks again for everybody, and KD.
All right, I would just say thanks for hanging in there for the last hour and a half. Train and Learn is an event that was my brainchild, but it is not an event that is about me. It is about this industry. So if you're looking for that, I'm all about solutions instead of just complaining about problems. So the big brother in me says, we got a solution. Get your ass to it. It's just the way that it is. And then we'll give you all the warm hugs and love that you need when you get there. But remember, no matter what you're doing, how you're doing it, we have to understand that it is big business to take us down. It is big business to take over this country. It is big business to deprive us of our rights. And some of these things are not done in front of cameras. They're done in boardrooms. They're done in accounting offices, and money and capital is a big thing that generates that. So we have to understand how to be in more control of our money, our capital, and our positions in our businesses, right? Because that's also going to be the tool or the vehicle that gets us back to the fight. We got to be able to kind of balance that thing out. And we're always going to be on the losing side of that to a degree. But the fact that we're on the side of righteousness really helps fill those gaps. But we have to make sure we're doing all that we can. So understand that the battle that you're truly in is not just one of who can win a snarky engagement on Instagram or Facebook. It's way deeper than that. We have to really get into the meat and potatoes of it. Other than that, man, I just wish everybody the best. Feel free to follow me and engage with me. Don't just follow. Feel free to engage, comment, interact. I don't bite. It's The Real NOC. I'm most active on Instagram. The Real NOC. That's THEREAL _NOC on Instagram. You can also use The Real NOC on all your platforms, to include YouTube. YouTube is something that I have geared up for the works to start pushing heavy right after I get through Train and Learn. I just got to get through this event. It's coming up in a week, so I want to get through that. You can also engage with me if you want to engage in a different platform that maybe this doesn't include guns. Another platform that I've already started that's also going to pick up heavy within the next 2 weeks is Stogies and Straps. So Stogies and Straps on YouTube, also Stogies and Straps on Instagram. This is also going to be my way of showing people how you can use your network to actually expand into other ventures and do things that are beneficial for you. I'm not a podcaster by nature, but I am pretty good at having conversations with people that think different than me, that come from different backgrounds. So Stogies and Straps is the way that I was able to infuse my love of cigars and that entire culture and other people that adapt that culture in with firearms. So that's why we have the word straps that's in there, right? So Stogies and Straps, we are free to have a discussion, and I'm free to leave that discussion feeling safe because I have the right to have an opinion and still feel safe going home. So on that platform, you'll see us interviewing everyone from people you might know from the gun industry, athletes, political pundits. We have different people. We have activists of different natures, of different backgrounds, and we're having very, very open dialogue conversations with them. So this is my way of pulling these people into a platform to have a discussion. You know, I'm privileged to have trained athletes, professional athletes over the years, engaged with people, some Hollywood figures and so forth and so on. So now I'm working with their schedules to get them on this platform with me. Once again, networking, right? So now I'm able to get them on this platform that I've created, and we're able to get into that dialogue and those discussions about various things. We're going to be talking about family and some politics and sports and just different things. But this is going to be my way of showing individuals out there that yeah, I am a supporter of gun rights, will always be. I will go to my grave pushing for gun rights and civil rights. And at the same time, I'm still just like your next door neighbor. And so when they get to see people having those conversations, it is not just based off the gun. These are individuals that are now going to be brought into and introduced to a person that supports gun rights that's not taking the typical avenue of showing them that they should also be a part of the grand conversation, understand how this country is working. So Stogies and Straps. It's much more than just my idea of having a podcast. It is my way of infusing our general beliefs that we have about freedom in with other avenues of America so we can become interwoven into the fabric of America. So we're not looked at as a fringe group or an outside group. We want people to know we're their neighbors, we're their coworkers, you know, we're that small business owner. We are Americans. And so this is my way of actually integrating us to the rest of America by using some of my friends and colleagues that have large followings in different spaces and seeing if we can fuse the two together and see if we can come to a resolution understanding through various conversations. So Stogies and Straps, be sure to check that out. We'll be having cigars. We're in a 1920s prohibition cigar bar while we're having those conversations. So the ambiance is real nice, real relaxed, calm environment. And we're not yelling. We're not giving you what other podcasts are giving you when you have people with conflicting viewpoints or shows. We're not yelling. We are bringing maturity back to discussions. We're going to make that sexy again, right? Adult discussions where we can really come up with solutions. So that once again, I wouldn't be able to do that if I hadn't fostered a network over the years. And now I'm able to tap into that network and tap into their busy schedules and have the knowledge of how to ask somebody that's worth $40 million to come sit down for 2 hours and have a conversation. So tune into it. You might pick up some things that can help you out on your own platform. And I watch platforms too, so I'll be learning something from everybody else out there. Other than that, man, that's really all I got. Website is nootherchoice.com. If you are looking to support advocate of what we do, despite if you disagree with me about some other things, if you're willing to support an advocate of what we do, I have accessories and things over there, swag and all those kind of things that you can indulge in that will obviously help me continue the various missions I have going on. You can also sign up for training classes. Sometimes I get bogged down and forget to tell people that I consider myself a pretty damn good firearms instructor. So I love to meet people and have them on the range with me and teach them how to get better and how to really understand how they interact with this firearm and how we can get out there and make ourselves a more valued asset to the world. So sign up for training classes on the website. I'm more than willing to answer any questions about the training, but I did a pretty good job of breaking everything we're going to cover down in the description of the classes. But if you have questions, reach out to me and let me know. Other than that, just understand that you might see me say something that you disagree with. Hang around for a while. Hang around. We can't say that we're all one and we want to all come together in unity and you can't maturely have a discussion that pushes that forward, right? So I'm not the guy that's always going to be snarky towards you. I will say what I feel because freedom is not something that's going to come because somebody had the best joke. Freedom is going to come truly when we all understand that we have different reasons for wanting it. We have different viewpoints of life. We have different perspectives, all to be valued. But the only way that we're truly going to get freedom is to really compromise. That's the only time we should compromise and understanding your fellow Americans' viewpoints. Stop trying to be right all the damn time. Just listen to what they have to say. You will be surprised what you will learn. And that's how we truly win when we don't even have to agree, as long as we understand and we can push this country forward. So I look forward to interacting with you. Those are all the ways you can get in touch with me. Reach out, DM, things of that nature. And I look forward to seeing this country be fostered forward with the help of all of you out there.
And we'll just wrap it up and we'll chat a bit off here.
Thank you for supporting our projects. If you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee, check out our Patreon channel.
The guys and gals at gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thank you for watching GunWebsites.com. Do 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 do.